People fleeing violence in Syria, Afghanistan, and Iraq are pouring into Europe in record numbers. It's been called the worst refugee crisis since the Second World War. Most are coming through the Greek islands in the Aegean Sea. Then they head north across the non-EU countries into the Western Balkans. Macedonia reopened its border with Greece after declaring a state of emergency. It closed last week after being overrun with migrants. Refugees tried to storm past riot police who tried to keep them out. People want to go to Hungary, which is a member of the EU's borderless zone. But the Hungarian government also wants to stem the flow. It's building a 175-kilometer fence along its border. In the first of our special series of reports on Europe's refugee crisis, CCTV's Kate Parkinson meets some of the people who are taking the long and difficult journey to Europe. Kate.
Well, yes, I've spent the last week traveling through Serbia and Hungary, taking the same path that the refugees are taking. It's a very long journey. It's very difficult. We've seen young children walking for hours, days even. We've seen elderly people. We've seen people with injuries. But the people that I've spoken to are saying they're fleeing countries like, as you mentioned, Syria, Afghanistan, Iraq. For them, there's no turning back. They want to continue. They're trying to get to Hungary. And this surge, this big increase in numbers that we have seen in the past few months and certainly in the past week is very much because of this growing anxiety, people desperate to get to Hungary before that wall is completed. The first section's due to be finished by the end of this month. Let's take a look at my report. In Serbia's capital, Belgrade, dozens of refugees are waiting for buses to take them on the next stage of their journey. Tens of thousands of people have already made this trip this year, and many more are expected to follow as people flee war, persecution and poverty. The so-called Balkans route has now overtaken the deadly sea crossing from Libya to become the busiest irregular passage to the European Union. 23-year-old Mohammed tells me he fled Syria with his 8-year-old sister. She has seen things no children should see, he tells me. She has suffered a lot. In the end, his parents begged him to take her away from the war and find somewhere safe to start a new life. Most of the people here have paid smugglers thousands of dollars to get them to Europe. The journey is thousands of kilometers, so they take with them only what they can carry and often rely on the kindness of strangers along the way. Hundreds have camped near the bus station in Belgrade. They are waiting for further instructions from the smugglers or gathering strength for the next stage of their journey. Many are in bad shape by the time they reach here.
We see many muscular pain, skeletal injuries due to the journey. As well, there are some hygiene problems due to they don't find any place where to sleep properly, where to wash themselves. So we have sometimes some small skin disease due to hygiene.
The flow of refugees through Serbia is seemingly endless. As people leave the capital and head for the northern border, more arrive from the country's south. These people have just arrived. They've come from Syria. Another stage of their journey is complete, but they still have a long way to go.
And Kate, German Chancellor Angela Merkel and French President Francois Hollande met on Monday on the refugee crisis. So what came out of that meeting?
Well, yes, the two leaders of France and Germany did speak on Monday. They are going to draft a set of proposals to get the European Union to properly address the issues of immigration and security. Germany particularly keen for a quota system to be put in place to get the European countries to share the burden of this refugee crisis, the worst since the Second World War. But that quota system, which was tabled earlier this year was roundly rejected by the majority of European countries. Germany certainly has a vested interest in getting other countries to share the burden. It is expecting to receive a record 800,000 refugees this year. That's more than the entire European Union received last year. So certainly a lot of work to be done to get a common policy to deal with this crisis, and also the non-European countries, non-EU countries of Macedonia and Serbia also crying out for help, because these are the countries that the refugees are transiting through on their way to Hungary, which is the gateway to the European Union.
All right, CCTV's Kate Parkinson live for us with that special report.